What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today's video, as you guys can see in the title, is my labor and delivery story, which is a little crazy. So let's start from the beginning. So this was an induced labor because of all the situations that were happening. If you guys don't know, you guys can go in my channel and I have my pregnancy journey. You guys can check that out. I went through my whole pregnancy and I made videos about everything that was going on in my life and all the problems I had with this pregnancy. So if you guys want to check that out, I will leave that playlist link down below. So basically, we'll go back to 36 weeks when I was pregnant. The doctors told me that I had signs of pre-eclampsia, meaning that it was like when your blood pressure gets too high or like bad stuff. So they were saying that I was looking like I was gonna get preeclampsia, that they weren't sure, but that they didn't want to risk me getting preeclampsia. So they were like really checking on my blood pressure every single time I went to my doctor's appointments. And they were checking that all the time, make sure my blood pressure wasn't high. But every time I went after like the 34-week mark, my blood pressure was like elevated. It wasn't high, but it was like almost at the point where it was like high. They were like concerned about that. So they did tell me when I went to my 36th appointment that if I went on my 37th week appointment, because when you're 36 weeks, for those last 4 weeks, you have an appointment every single week. So they were like, if you come back next week and you still about to have high blood pressure, we're gonna have to send you to the doctors and get you induced at 37 weeks, because that is considered full term and it's safe for the baby to be delivered. Since I did have all those issues with like my kidneys, they were like, we think the baby is really affecting your body really bad, so we need to get the baby out, because even if it's like you don't get preeclampsia, it could cause something else because you're having all these issues with the pregnancy. And they were like, we want to get the baby out. So I was like, no, I don't want you to get my baby out. I want this baby to come out by himself. So I didn't go to my 37-week appointment because I did not want to get induced. I did not want to. I started to walk more and I started to do a little other stuff that people were like, do this and it'll help the baby come down and you'll give birth. And at my 36-week appointment, they were already like, well, you're already dilated to 3. And I was like, yes, like the baby's going to come by himself any day now and it's not going to be horrible. But no, they were like, we have to induce you. Whatever. I was so excited when they told me I was already about to be 3 centimeters dilated, which I already knew I was dilated because I had horrible pelvic pain. I would walk and I would feel like so much pressure and pain down there. So I was like, I have to be dilating. And at night I would get like horrible cramps every single night. So I was like, those are contractions. They better be contractions and I better be dilated. And yeah, so I was dilated at 3 when they did that checkup. I think it was at 36 weeks when they do that one checkup. So I went into that 36 appointment and they said that about the 37 week, if I went in and still had high blood pressure, they probably consider inducing me. So I did not go to my 37-week appointment because I was not ready for that. And I was like, well, I'm gonna try to do stuff. Hopefully the baby comes by himself. I've already been having contractions every night. I'm already dilated, so I think the baby can come by himself. So the week passes and the baby doesn't come, and then I still went like 4 days without going to the doctors. So then I was 37 weeks and like 4 days, and then I called my doctors. I already had all this like pelvic pains every single day, like horrible pelvic pains. So I was like, you know what, fine, I am so tired of suffering, and this like pain is horrible and it would just get horrible by day. So I was like, I'm ready to give birth if I have to give birth. So I told myself, but in reality, I was not ready. You're never ready. So I called my doctors and they were like, okay, we're going to give you an appointment the next day. And I was like, hold on. You guys usually take like 5-6 days to give me an appointment, and now you're giving me an appointment the next day. And I was like, okay, fine. So I was like 37 weeks and 5 days when I went into this appointment. They were like, oh, your blood pressure is high. So the nurse, when you walk in, they always check your blood pressure, your weight, and ask you all these questions. So the nurse is like, your blood pressure is a little bit high. And I was like, no. I was like, don't tell me my blood pressure is high. And so then she was like, I'm going to check your blood pressure again. And I was like, yes, please do so. She's like, maybe I read it wrong. And she checked my blood pressure again. She was like, oh my God. She was like, it's higher this time. And then she was like, okay, I'm going to check it one more time. And I was like, girl, you checked this a million times. And that means this thing is going to go down. And then she was like, yeah, it's high. It's high. And so then she was like, but you know what? We're going to call somebody else to confirm if it's high. So I was like, girl, you can call whoever you want. Hopefully they say you read that wrong. But I already knew, because I was like, there's no way. If you already read it 3 times, like, obviously it's high. So the other lady came and she checked it too. And she was like, yeah, your blood pressure is high. And I was like, yeah, okay. So then that's all they said to me. They walked me back into the room where they like examine you. And then the doctor came in. She was like, you were supposed to come at your 37 weeks. And we see you didn't come last week. And then she was like, the nurses told you that you have high blood pressure, right? And I was like, yeah. And then she started telling me again all this about, well, you know, you are in risk of having pre-eclampsia, and that will be worse if you get pre-eclampsia. We'll have to do an emergency C-section, and you won't even be able to try to go natural. So I was like, I know, the lady told me, but I was still willing to take my chances and get that baby out, but he didn't come out. So she was like, I'm gonna go talk to like the head doctor or something. She said something about like the main doctor to see what they thought they should do. And she was like, I'm gonna check you if you're dilated any also, just because we think we might be sending you over to like the actual hospital area to get some tests done. And I was like, okay. She was like, I need to get tests done to make sure you don't have pre-eclampsia. And so she checks me, and then she was like, yeah, you're dilated to 4 now. And I was like, yes, like 4, we're almost like there. Well, she said 3.5, almost 4. So I was like, well, at least I dilated like half when I was at home for a whole week and a half. And she was like, that's pretty good. And I was like, okay. I didn't really think they were gonna like keep me there, because they were like, I want to get some tests done to see if you like have anything. She's like, okay, yeah, we talked with other doctors and they said you should head over to the women's hospital and they're gonna do some tests and check you out. I called my husband and I was like, hey, they're saying I have to go to the hospital. They're gonna give me some tests done. And she said they might consider leaving me, might not. It's a maybe. We don't know yet. So I was like, do you think you can come? Whatever, but don't rush, because apparently they're just saying I'm going to take tests. He was like, go eat, because you know how long those things take. So I left the hospital and I went and I got some Jimmy John's, I think, or some kind of sub place. And I was like eating, and then I went to the hospital. So by this time I left at 4 and I got back to the hospital at 5. I checked in, they were like, we've been waiting for you. They called us that you were gonna come over here. And then they were like, okay, so this is like an immediate check-in, or what do they call it? Like, she said a different word, like I was gonna like check myself in type of thing. And I was like, no, I'm not checking myself in. I was like, I'm getting some tests done. And she was like, oh. And she was like, okay, well, it's on here that you're like coming to check yourself in. And I was like, no, I'm not. And she's like, well, let's wait a second and wait for the other lady that like processes you and asks you questions or whatever, and she'll explain stuff to you. So she came and she was like, yeah, you're gonna stay. I don't know why the doctors didn't tell you. And they were like, they probably changed their mind when you were on your way here and called us, so they didn't get a chance to tell you because you had already left. So she was like, yeah, you're like officially checked in already. ready and we're gonna take you to your labor and delivery room. And I was like, a what? Like, I wasn't even ready for this. I was still expecting maybe them to tell me, okay, we're gonna schedule induction, because that's what they told me. They had to schedule them. It's like, yep, you're going straight to your room and we're gonna start this off soon to get the baby out of you. And I was like, I mean, I'm already checked in. What the hell am I supposed to do now? So they took me up to my room. The nurses came in and they started asking me all these questions, filling out this stuff. And I was like, I have to call my husband. And at this point, I don't know why my phone's always dying. My phone was dying. So I was like, I need to call my husband before my phone dies to let him know that I guess there's a baby coming. I called my husband. I told him, hey, they said they're going to start this by 7. So I got there at 5. And they said, at 7, we're going to start giving you the Pitocin. So I was like, okay, so if you can make it here by like 7, you know, that's when they're going to start it. And then the nurse came in to draw my blood and put my IV. And that's when I showed you guys how many IVs she put in me. She put 2 in this hand. And then the other lady came in and did the actual one on this hand because the other lady couldn't find it. And that's why I was all bruised up on my hand that I showed you guys. So they did that. She took out blood, like 3 little tubs of blood to do tests on, and she came back. It was like 6:45 at this point. She's like, do you want us to get it started? Should we wait for your husband? And I was like, well, how long does it usually take to like kick in? And she was like, well, I'm not sure, everybody's different, but it definitely won't be soon, like 1 hour if your husband needs like an hour to get here. And I was like, okay. So I was like, well, yeah, we can go ahead and start it. And she was like, okay, I'm going to put in the thing. So at 7 o'clock, like literally got there and my husband got there and we were like starting the thing. So she started the thing and they put it in my IV and then they start at 2 and going up by 2, she said. So every 30 minutes she would come in and up the little thing to... So 2, 4, 6, 8, you know, every 30 minutes she would come in and do that. So I was feeling contractions, but it was just like those contractions that I was feeling at night when I would go to sleep. So they were contractions, but they weren't like horrible, like I was dying. So I was feeling those contractions like every 5 minutes. And then, you know, she saw me and she was like, you don't look like you're in much pain and we're already in 10, so do you want us to break your water? I was like, you don't see me in pain, really? At this point, my water had not broken at all. We can break your water. Usually that helps to speed things up. It's like, we've already went up a lot and like, you're not feeling like the super contractions. So that'll help you speed it up. And since you've had kids before, it will probably speed it up way faster. So I was like, yeah, go ahead, break my water. I had already went through all this with my first daughter because she did not want to come either. So they broke my water and I already knew what it was like. It's not like painful. Once you're having contractions, breaking your water is like nothing. Well, to me, you're already having contractions. So when they break your water, it's just like nothing. Like they say it hurts a lot, but honestly, to me, it didn't hurt a lot. Probably because, well, I was already having contractions and the contractions are worse than what it feels like to break your water. You know what I'm saying? The other nurse came in and they got this like little hooky thing looking like, it's like a metal long thing and it had like a little hook at the end. And I would like stick it all the way in there and like next thing you know, I just felt like a splash of water everywhere. So after they broke my water, I think I did like 2 more updates after they broke my water. And when they broke my water, that's when things got real serious, real quick. 0 to 100 in like 5 minutes. And they had already put it up to 12. So I was like 0 to 100. Like it was like that. Like I was just like having the time of my life. I was like, this is the greatest birth ever. And then it was like, psych, just kidding, you're not having the best birth ever. That's when everything got serious. I was recording my updates and then since like I said, everything went so fast. At this point, I think it was like probably like 10. I don't recall exactly what time it was. It was 10. It was around 10, almost 10. So since the moment she broke my water, like an hour and a half later, I gave birth. It was like really fast. The pains literally, I'm not joking when I say 0 to 100, like real quick. And I don't know if it's because with my daughter, you know, the pain kind of drastically goes worse, like, but by increments. Like, your body's kind of like adjusting to the pain, and then you like get to the horrible pains at the end. But with this one, like, my body didn't even have time to, like, hey, you know, it's about to get horrible up in here. No, it was just like hey, you're all calm, and boom, like, here we are right here, and you're just like, what the hell do I do? It's so horrible. When we first got there, she was like, if you need any medicine or the epidural, or we have this other one that goes in your IV, but it doesn't really help the pain. It just helps with the, no, she said it helps a little bit with the pain, but it doesn't help with the pressure you feel. So I was like, okay, when can I take that? And she was like, well, whenever you want, you can take that. So I was like, okay. And like, since it went really fast, I was like, the pains are like horrible. I was like, can I get that IV medicine that you said? Notch down the pain. Even though she said it only brings down the pain, it's not like a, you know, a pain reliever, like where it's like you don't feel anything, or like you're gonna feel the pain. It's still gonna be bad, but it's not gonna be as intense. I was like, well, can I get that, you know, kind of adjust my pain and try to, like, you know, take it in? And she was like, yeah, we can do that. And so I was like, okay. So then the other nurse came in, and she was like, we have to check you. Can you get in the bed so we can check you before we give you it? And I was like, okay. And then so she checked me, and she was like, you're already 7 dilated. So this was like within like 40 minutes. And she was like, I was from like a 4 to a 7. Like, it was crazy. So yeah, when the doctor first checked me, I was 4.5. So she was like, you haven't done much progress. And you know, that's when they broke my water. So I was like 4.5. She said that I hadn't done any progress. So that's when they broke my water. And from then I went from 4.5 to a 7 in 40 minutes. And she was like, we can't give you any medicine because that medicine is only when you're before 6. Because at 7, you're already too close to 10. And if the baby's born, that medicine makes the babies sleepy and drowsy. And that could be bad because they won't know to breathe or whatever. She said they couldn't give it to me because it was bad for the baby. So I was like, okay. I was like, I'm going to tough this out, and we got this then. And they were like, do you want the epidural? And I was like, no. I was like, the epidural is not a choice. And so they were like, okay, yeah, we can't give you anything. So if you decided you don't want the epidural, then you have to stick to it, and you can't get anything. So I was like, okay. I was like, that's fine. But when the doctor was like, okay, we have to check you, when I was at 7, they're like, get on the bed. And at this point, like, I kept having these contractions like every 2 minutes. And I was like, girl, if you know I'm having this damn contraction. So literally this whole time I've been in labor, I've been walking around, and I've been just like kind of leaning up against the bed, and I would put my husband to rub my back. And I didn't lay on that bed except when they broke my water, when she checked me, and when I asked for that medicine. That's it. That's the only times I laid on that bed. Because you know what? When she was checking me, how dilated I was, and I was at 7, I felt like I was dying on that bed. Like, that bed was a no-go. Like, I'm telling you guys, if you guys want to do this, do not just lay on that bed. Because that bed laying there is the worst way you can give birth. Because you're not helping the baby move out, gravity, you know. So it was horrible when I laid on that bed. And so they broke my water, and then after that, like 45 minutes, they came back to check me for that medicine. And then I got up, and I was just like walking around, still horrible pains. The nurse was like, you look like you're having really bad contractions already. I'm gonna prep all this area just in case the baby comes, because it looks like you might give birth within 2-3 hours. And I was like, okay. I was like, yep, you go ahead and do that. Because they're like 30 minutes prepping the table, like the little area where the doctors has to come in, put his dumbbell suit on, his gloves, all this stuff to give birth to the baby. She was getting the area where the baby goes in his little crib, all his little diapers, all that stuff. She was getting all that ready. It took her like 30 minutes to do that. And after that, the doctor came in, and she was like, we want to check you again to see how dilated you are. And I was like, okay. She was like, can you lay in the bed? And at this point, I felt like I was dying. Just laying there in that bed. It was horrible. She checked me again and she was like, she had told me that I was still a 7.5. At this point, the nurse had already finished doing that, and it had only been like 20 minutes when she had been done putting everything up, prepping for the baby to come. She checked me like at 10:50 or something, and she was like, "You're still 7.5, 8." I was like, "I feel like I'm dying. How have I not progressed anything?" So I was just like, "Okay, that's fine. You know, we've only been here, 7 to 10, almost 11. It hasn't been that many hours, I was like, I'm gonna tough it out. It's like, okay, whatever." So then the nurse leaves, and I was telling my husband, I was like, "Help me get out this bed, because this bed is not cute. I don't want to be laying in this bed. I feel horrible when I lay on the bed, so I want to walk around and get up." Got up and started walking, and I told my husband, "These pains feel really, really bad, like if I'm almost ready to give birth." And I told him, I was like, "You know what? Can you grab a couple towels?" Because they have like drawers there, and we saw where the lady took the towels out of. And since I was like leaking everywhere, get a couple towels and put one on the floor, and then put one folded up so I could put my knees on there. And so he did that. Literally, the nurse had just left like 10 minutes ago. She had left when I got up out that bed and started walking around. She had checked me that I was 7.5, 8. And I told my husband, "Put it on the floor, and I'm gonna get on my knees on the floor and on my hands." They told me that that helps a lot to help the baby move down. So I was on my knees and on my hands facing down. And I was like, I'm gonna do this for a little bit and see if it helps the baby come out. So literally, I told him, I was like, "I'm having a contraction, I can't go down, yet, because I'm like having a horrible contraction. Rub my back." So he started rubbing my back. The contraction stopped for like 30 seconds, and then I like got on the floor. And all of this happened so fast that literally by the time the nurse came and checked me, I felt like my legs couldn't like hold me up anymore, because I kept telling him, "Hug me and like rub my back, because I feel like my legs are giving up on me." It was so weird. Like my legs were like shaking, like I felt like they were just gonna like drop, like they weren't gonna hold me anymore. So he got in front of me and like would rub my back, and I was like, the pain, it was just like so like drastic. The change was just like so fast that like my body didn't have time to adjust to it. So like it was so much pain that my body was like trying to give out type of thing. And I was like, what is happening? So yeah, I told him that, and I was like, "I can't do it no more. I need to do this, try to help the baby come out, and I can't stand on my legs because I feel like I'm gonna fall if I stand on my legs anymore." So he was like, "Okay, okay." So he went, and I was just holding onto the bed still, kind of crouched down onto the bed. And he went and grabbed the blankets, grabbed the towels, and he put the towel on the floor. So I got on my knees on the floor. Literally, the moment I got on my knees, it was like 3 minutes, and I was like, "There's a horrible contraction coming, horrible contraction." I was like, "Rub my back," and I was like dying. And then he was like, "Okay, okay, okay," because he was in front of me trying to hold me too, so I wouldn't like fall. I was like crouched down right here, and he was in front of me holding me so I wouldn't fall. And I was like, "There's this horrible contraction coming. I need you to rub my back." So he was like getting up to go around the back, and then he was like barely standing up walking, and I was like, "No." I was like, "Hang on, I have to go to the restroom. I feel like I have to go to the restroom." So, but I was having a contraction, and I felt like I had to go to the restroom really, really bad. And I was like, "I think it's gonna come out." And then I was like literally freaking out that I was literally about to go to the restroom on that floor. And I was like, "I have to go to the restroom. It's a horrible contraction." And then I was like yelling at him to help me go to the restroom because he was barely standing up. So he got back down to try to help me get up. I was like, "Hang on, this is not going to the restroom. The baby's coming." Because it was like horrible, like it was the worst contraction ever. And then I felt like I had to go to the restroom, so I was like, "I have to go." And he tried to pick me up, and the moment he tried to pick me up, I couldn't get up because I felt like something was down there. And I was like, no. I was like, it's not the restroom. I was like, it's the baby. I was like, call the nurse, call the nurse. Hurry up, it's the baby. And so he like ran and got up and he like clicked the little button like 100 times. And he didn't even get to talk to the people because I was like, the baby's coming, the baby's coming. And I was yelling at him that I had to push. I have to push. The baby is coming. And I felt like I had to go. The moment like he tried to pick me up, I felt like the baby was down there already. It's not the restroom. That's the baby, because you feel like a huge pressure and you feel just like, you feel like you have to go to the restroom and when the baby's coming out. So I was like, the baby's coming out. So I literally told him, I'm pushing right now because I have to push and this baby is coming. I was like, so scared because I was on the floor on my knees. And so he came back and at this point the like nurse talker thing is already on and all the nurses are hearing me. So I kept yelling, and then at one point I was just like, the baby's coming, the baby's coming. I started yelling at him, it's the baby, and the nurses are hearing me yell that I have to push. And he was like, wait. And I was like, I can't wait, I have to push. So I literally started pushing. I felt his like head come out everywhere. Boom. Like this, and I felt the baby like this, like literally. And so I was like, nobody is there. I was like, who the heck is gonna catch this baby? We're on the floor. He's gonna plop down to the floor and he's gonna hurt himself. So I literally, like, a new thing I learned, my husband's like, I literally groundhogged that baby. Because the baby was like this, like he was like there, and I went like whoop. I went back and I stopped pushing. Like I try to like hold it and not push, but I was like, I can't, I have to push. Like, you just get this urge to push, like, you know the baby's coming. He was like, I'm gonna catch the baby. And I was like, okay, catch this baby. So this man goes and tries to put gloves on, and with all this nervous pressure he's feeling, he can't get the damn gloves on. And I was like, I have to push. This baby is out of my vagina already, and you're trying to put some gloves on? And that's when the nurse walks in. He was like barely trying to put his gloves on, so the nurse walks in and she still hears me screaming, the baby's coming, and I'm pushing. And so she's like, we have to try to get you to the bed. And I was like, I cannot go to the bed. This baby is like halfway out. I can't go to no bed, okay? And at that point, I was just like, I can't hold it no more. The baby. So the nurse literally like swooped on the glove so fast, and she like went back there and saw that his head was already out too, because I was like, push. I pushed him out. She had one glove on and was like gonna catch him, but she like put her glove on real quick to put the other one on, and then that's when she like grabbed his head with both the hands, and the baby kept coming out, and she like pulled him out. Nobody had time to do anything. She literally just swooped that one glove on and was like gonna catch the baby, and she like pushed the other one on and she caught the baby. It was crazy in there. And when the baby came out, the nurse was already carrying the baby, and then they asked my husband if he was gonna cut the cord, and he was like yes. So he went back there to cut the cord, and like when he was going back there to cut the cord already, that's when the doctor, the head doctor, because you know there's always a doctor that comes in to deliver your baby. That doctor walked in and they were like, oh, we already delivered this baby, like, you know, we didn't need you no more, type of thing. I was like, where the hell was this doctor? Clearly I screamed that I had to push. So he came in after I had already delivered. So I literally gave birth on that floor because I could not get up. Baby was like halfway out, and I felt like I couldn't get up because the baby was already out. I held that baby in for like a minute or two because I was like so scared he was gonna fall on the floor. And so yeah, that was the story of how I gave birth on this hospital floor. That's when they told me, okay, like they cut the cord and everything. They were like, okay, now we have to push out placenta. And at this point, well, I didn't have any more contractions, so I was like, yep, I'm good to go. I got up and got on the bed. So yeah, that was our crazy story. And he was a little baby, 5 pounds and 12 ounces when he was born. And he was healthy, but he was just really small, so we had a lot of issues. But you guys will see all the updates and everything else that happened after the birth. So don't forget to subscribe, guys, and give this video a big thumbs up. I know it's kind of long because I did have to go back a little bit towards the pregnancy because, well, you guys had to kind of understand the concept of why all this happened, why I had to get induced to even give birth in the first place. I'm telling you guys, if you guys give birth, that position right there on all fours is like the key to your problems. Let me tell you, it really helps a lot. They had told me that, so I was like, this is the moment to try it out and see if it's real. And guess what? It was hella real. So yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys in my next video. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe, and comment down below if you guys have had any crazy experiences like this. I know there's a lot of people that give birth in their cars, so I am glad I have not have to go through that because that is crazy. Yep, and bye guys.